They've done Reading and Leeds main stage sets. They've toured with Kasabian, amongst others. They've just about to start a tour in the UK where they've already sold 65,000 tickets. They've just done a sold-out Australian tour, and they got their fourth album, How Many Dreams. DMAs have ambitiously crafted a record that's the grand sum of every part of who DMAs are, and we are so stoked to be having them on the show tonight. We've got Tommy and Johnny. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hey, thanks for having us. How you doing?
Very, very well. Hey, tell me about the whirlwind ride of the last few years. How's it been?
It's been crazy, man. It's it's been a natural trajectory, but it's like, I don't know, we're 4 albums in now, and just kind of watching it grow over that time has just been pretty special, and seeing the response that we get over with because we kind of got like a throwback Britpop 90s Britpop sound, and that's where we started, but and so like just seeing like the crowds in the UK be so responsive, and then just seeing also the crowds at home just growing and growing and growing. We had a pretty amazing set at Falls Festival this year, and yeah, it's just really awesome.
Fantastic story of you guys getting together. 2012 you started off, but it was 2014 that you kind of came to everybody's attention. And then, of course, as you say, you're on your fourth album. Touring overseas, it can be a bit daunting, like to go over with that sound that you talk about and see what the UK crowd's going to think of it. But obviously, they love it.
Yeah, well, we didn't, to be honest, I was a little bit naive to it all. I don't think I really realised. We were listening to bands like Primal Scream and Blur and Oasis and the Stone Roses, and I guess being a kid from Australia, we didn't realize how huge. I just didn't really understand how huge the Britpop scene was, and so I was like, oh yeah, we like those kind of bands. We'll write some music like that. But then, we've gone over there, and next minute we're supporting Liam Gallagher and then going on Dave Rowntree from Blur's radio show, and then all these things are happening, and and we're about to play Wembley Arena, so
fantastic. That's just fantastic. Tell us about Reading. I read some great reviews about you guys on the Sunday afternoon at Reading. What was that like on the main stage?
Oh, look, it's such an iconic festival to play, Leeds and Reading Festival, and when we walked out to sort of see a people, to be embraced by that many people in the UK so far away from home. It's a really special moment, and it's what we live for, our live gigs, because we're touring band, and that's how we kind of make our living and how we earn our stripes as musicians. So.
And it's been funny as well, because every time when we first played at Reading and Leeds Festival, we played in a little tent, early on in the day. And it was half full, but it was vibey. And then 2 years later, we played later in the afternoon to a packed out tent. And then, a couple of years after that, we were playing to a full main stage on a Sunday afternoon. And so it's been a bit of a landmark gig for us to kind of see the trajectory of the band.
I love to hear you young blokes say back in the day, and it was 6 years ago, and back in the day for me is 1991. Now, I was reading that you had a bunch of demos for this record. What's your sorting process like? Is it like you all sit around and listen to them together, or do you make a list up singularly and kind of submit it? What's the go with that?
I think we all make a list. And then obviously the songs that are on all the lists stay, and then we kind of tend to fight for the next 3 months as to what are the other songs that make it.
We set up like a little kind of mud gladiator style pit in our studio, and we just have at it with a bunch of XLR leads.
But it's kind of it's essential to the process, isn't it? You've got to be hard on yourselves. You've got to look at the songs and go, is there anything worth continuing within this vein, or shall we leave it to the side?
Yeah, well, it's also a funny thing, because there's some great songs that didn't make the record, but we still like to think of records in that old school way, where when you listen to it from start to finish, or on a vinyl, and you listen to the A side of the vinyl or the B side of the vinyl, that it all flows, and they kind of complement each other as a whole piece of work.
Yep.
You know
absolutely.
what I mean? And sometimes that gets lost because singles are so big these days, and Spotify and streaming, and sometimes people aren't listening to the records from start to finish. But I think it's still important to kind of hold on to that kind of that attitude. It kind of keeps you on your toes a bit.
Yeah, and just because a song doesn't suit like this album doesn't mean it won't get used down the track. You know what I mean? Like we've had a lot of songs, older songs that weren't used on the first couple of records that ended up being, big songs for us later on. So I think it's good to just keep
there was
writing.
a song of ours called Silver, which we had before we even started the band. It was one of the early demos, and it didn't make it till our third record.
Yeah,
and
right.
became the biggest single off that record.
Talk about learning things as you go, and the more you play, the better you get. You've been on tour with some great acts, as you mentioned, Liam Gallagher, Kasabian, the Kooks, who you've cited as an influence. Did you learn good and bad things from those guys on the road?
Let me think. Well, yeah, all the Kasabian guys were lovely, just really good guys, which was cool. So, and that's something that's we've always been really aware of is if you got a support band, it's quite often it's someone that might look up to you or like kind of trying to learn something from you. So it's like always treat the support bands. Well, you should be treating everyone with respect.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? Like it's maybe giving it a little bit of extra attention to that. Buying them a bottle of whiskey or champagne at the end of the tour and stuff.
I think doesn't matter how much money you have, don't get too carried away with stage props. I think is something we learned that we shouldn't do.
Yeah.
Just because you don't want too many stage props.
So go into a bit of... Tell us about some of your stage props that you've had.
Well, they're not our stage props, but it was more the bands we toured with they kind of got a bit bored and decided to recreate their living room in a stadium and just, yeah.
And then we saw, because we played the first arena show with that. We're not going to say what band it is, but then it's safe to say that the next night those stage props weren't used.
They went for a campfire sort of vibe and it didn't quite work out.
Unreal. Isn't it great? The on the road shenanigans, there's nothing quite like them.
Yeah, there's been some good laughs, especially when you get the tour bus going because, everyone's there and you travel during the night and everyone's always buzzing and it's a good time to hang out with all the crew and stuff as well. It's
unreal. It's a side of touring you don't find out about until you go overseas. I mean, obviously, Taragos and, 8-seaters and stuff are the norm and flights here. But over there, you get in a tour bus and as you say, you're just driving through the night, waking up in a different city, if not a different country every day.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's it's pretty cool actually once you get to the tour bus level because you kind of get your days off, and you actually get to see the city a little bit. Where before that, if you're just staying in hotels and you're kind of driving for 3 or 4 hours of the day.
Yeah, just seeing signs to places that you think look interesting.
Yeah, actually, we did that recently because we supported Kasabian, and we didn't have the tour bus through Europe, so we're back to 10-hour drives. So that got pretty real.
I think it takes after 5 gigs, maybe 4 or 5 gigs, and then once you get into the rhythm of it, and everyone gets in the swing of it, and everyone's on the tour bus, it becomes kind of becomes a real sort of everyone's kind of in the rhythm, and it's like one big family, and it kind of. Yeah, it's pretty memorable.
Yeah, it's really rewarding when you have a great show and you sit down and you have a beer with your guitar tech and your sound guy and your in-ear monitors guy and everyone can kind of just go, hey, we put on something pretty special tonight and everyone was having a great time and it's pretty rewarding in that way.
And it helps to work out, even little things in the show, doesn't it? Just to go, oh, that happened tonight. Can we do this or that tomorrow night or whatever?
Yeah,
just to be
I had to tell my sound engineer to stop critiquing my vocals because they weren't that good every night.
Tell him to stop hitting the suck button, right? That's what I always say to my sound guy. Hey, the album comes out on the 31st of March. What do you guys like when the albums come out? Do you have expectations of what the crowd's going to think of the album or you just let it go like Elsa?
Yeah, no, we know they're gonna love it. So
good man.
That's all good, man. That's all. We're not worried about that. No, we don't think about it too much. We just kind of make the record that we want to make, and and hope that our fans want to come on the journey with us. Well, and they can learn and listen with us.
Talk about a journey. You're just about to head overseas. I was looking at your schedule. It looks fantastic. You've already sold 65,000 tickets for the upcoming tour. Very exciting news.
Yeah. We can't wait to get out on this next run.
Bring it on.
Yeah. We're chuffed. It's live touring just become such a important part of it for us and the show. And do you know what's great? When you release a new record, you've just got better tunes to put in the set. So it just you know, when it's amazing how much stronger the set can get when you've written 4 albums and you can pick and choose all the best tracks from that. And the show just gets better and better.
Well, fantastic, guys. Congratulations on all your success and good luck on continued success. You're an absolute credit to the Aussie music industry, and to see bands like yourselves doing so well is a real leg up to all the young bands coming up around Australia. So thanks very much for your time, Tommy and Johnny.
Thanks so much. Thanks for your time. It's been a pleasure.